What is up, everyone? I'm coming on here for a couple of plays for the day. Pretty unfortunate day yesterday. We did have a setup going into yesterday, and it does miss. If you guys don't know what I do what's called correlation. So, I took soccer players to go over pass attempts because if they're passing the ball a lot to each other, they play very similar positions or around the field. They're either going to be passing to each other a lot, or they're not going to be passing to each other very much just based on how the game is going. Unfortunately, the game was going in a favor where PSG was not passing the ball as much as they normally do, and these guys go under their pass attempts. So hopefully that makes sense just quickly how kind of like different correlation works, right? You can do the same thing in the NFL. You can do the same thing with different esports like Valorant, Counter-Strike, League of Legends, and then obviously, like I said, with soccer and other kind of sports in that realm there. So we do have a setup going into this afternoon. So maybe this one will cash here. As you guys can see, League of Legends correlation here. I take over kills, over assists. These guys both go over together. And then with Valorant down here, we do have a correlation happening in the next couple of minutes, actually. This was a Counter-Strike hit right here, and then we have some League of Legends in Valorant, which League of Legends unfortunately does go opposite correlation, like I said. So again, if we had League of Legends go green, or maybe I paired this one up with this one, then it would have been a hit. But unfortunately, we did not. So that does suck. And then with the tacos, we also missed the tacos, which really sucks because I feel like the past maybe 2-3 months, we've been on like a 75 to 80% hit rate with these League of Legends plays and the tacos. I believe last week we went 3 out of 3 on the tacos. Maybe there was one miss. I think there was actually one NHL miss if I'm remembering correctly, which was actually just the taco just straight up missed. But, unfortunately, we do miss the tacos. This one was probably the closest with Miko here. We does bump to 19.5 by game time. I did check last night. So we did get value on it. It just honestly was not as an aggressive a game as I thought it was going to be. Miko plays the first map, they lose. He only gets 5 assists. In the second map, they win, and he gets 12 assists. So it ends up being 17 assists right there. And, there's, like I said in yesterday's video, there's a lot of times where this guy wins a game and he'll get 22, 18 assists in one game, right? So it just so happened that second game they won. It just wasn't a very aggressive game. There wasn't much happening. It ended pretty quickly. Again, it kind of happened at like 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. So I didn't actually watch the game, but I did kind of review it after. Zun, these guys just go 2-0. So these guys get a lot of assists and pretty much because they do go 2-0 and win both games here. So at the end of the day, I feel like these League of Legends plays have been doing really, really well for us. I'm not going to, dive super deep into it or really talk about how, now it's the end of the world or something just because we had a couple of misses here and there. If you guys do not know, we were on a 23-5 run on this channel. So I guess now it is a 23-6 run or something. I guess you have to decide if you're going to count the taco or not. But we are now on I guess let's just call it a 23-6 run or something like that over the past 2 to 2.5 weeks on this channel right here. You guys can see all of these green check marks and all these videos I posted over the past 2 weeks were 2-man hits. Okay. They're not just like 1-man hit or one play out there. They're 2-man hits. A lot, most of these are like a playoff NBA play with a League of Legends play. As you guys can see in a lot of these titles and thumbnails, right? We have NBA playoffs. So it's League of Legends. We have NBA League of Legends here as well. So you guys can see we've been hitting a lot this past couple of weeks, so no big deal if we miss one of them here. Unfortunately, I always want to hit these tacos. I always want to hit these low-hanging fruit like these discounts, which is why we're going to go back and we have more MLB discounts today that we will try to hit. If you guys do not know, historically, I'm a very profitable bettor. We are currently going through our worst month ever, so I'm really hoping that's May. I'm really, really, really ready to just absolutely dominate May and have an amazing May. If you guys do not know, though, I am up about 120 to 125 units so far this year in 2025. And pretty much if you track that out through the whole year, we are on pace for a 350 to a 400 unit year, which is amazing to think about, honestly, because we had 2 of our worst months ever in this span of this year so far. January was not that pretty of a month. We only went up 18 units. My goal is always to go up 40, 50, or 60 units in a month, just by the way. And then April was really our worst month ever that we've ever been doing this for the past year. Again, a lot of my bets, you guys can see in 2024, I took about 3,000 bets, really. And then so far in 2025, I've taken 1,000 bets. I would say 98, 95% of those bets are correlated bets, just like I talked about earlier today with soccer, with NFL, with college football, with esports like Valorant, like League of Legends, like Counter-Strike. I talked about this in yesterday's video too, but like my videos are all public. I have 300, 400 videos on this channel that I've been doing for a full year. You guys can go back to last May. You guys can go back to the summer. You guys can go back to early football season. And I'm talking about the same stuff, right? I'm talking about Counter-Strike. I'm talking about Valorant. I'm talking about League of Legends, I'm also obviously going to talk about, you know, football here and there when it's football season, and we're doing football correlation. But again, the strategy has really stayed the same, stayed consistent. February especially was 2 months ago, and we went up 93 units in February doing this exact same strategy, right? And there really was no football going on in February. Maybe the only game I think going on was the Super Bowl. So there was one game in February in the NFL, and we went up 93 units with just esports alone. All right, so getting into the play of the day here, we are obviously going to pair up this hot dog discount right here. I forgot who the other guy is, but like I said, I'm going to be sending out that play later today. But I'm going to be taking the one that actually happens a little bit later in the day. I think it happens at like 7 or 8 p.m. Nathan Eovaldi over 4.5 pitcher strikeouts. It's a discount. We love it. We're going to take it 10 out of 10 times. So that's amazing to see. I honestly really, really love the MLB discounts. I love these a lot more than some of these NHL discounts they've been sending out. But Nathan Eovaldi over 4.5 pitching strikeouts. Don't have much else to say about that. It's a discount, so we're going to take it. And then we're going to pair him up with Grizzly to go over 6.5 maps, 1 through 2 kills. Okay. So talking about Grizzly here, he is averaging 4.85 kills per map. Okay. If you expand that out to 2 maps, that is around 10 kills per series that he is doing per 2 maps, right? So he's averaging about 10 kills in these series, right? If you take the games that he's winning, okay, so you just take wins, he's averaging 6.1 kills per win, and that's just 1 map, right? He's playing 2 maps. They're also favored to win by about 135, minus 135. So they're not favored a ton, but they're favored in the sense where like they should be able to at least take 1 game off of GGA, right? So they should at least go 1-1, if not 2-0. And if they, like I said, if they go 1-1, that means he gets a win, and he's averaging 6 kills per win in 1 game. Okay, so in losses, he also is averaging probably, I didn't do the math, but he's averaging probably like 2 or 3 in losses too. It's not like he does absolutely nothing in losses either. So I'm thinking the fair value here should be maybe like 8. Honestly, if this bumps up to 7, I would still take it. It might bump up to 7, you guys. And this is a really, really solid play. This is also kind of the divisional league for these League of Legends players, okay? So this is kind of like the G League for League of Legends. What happens in the G League of League of Legends, pretty much it's kind of like a lower tier, right? What happens in the lower tier of League of Legends is these games are a lot more aggressive, a lot more volatile. There's a lot more going on. If you kind of think about it, at the higher tiers of League of Legends, it's a lot more calculated. There's a lot more strategy involved, a lot more calculated risk. They do practices. Not to say these guys don't practice and stuff either, but they have a lot more strategy going on. They have a lot more calculated risks. And these guys more play like it's kind of a pickup game, if that makes sense. So, and not, not in a sense where they just go out there and, are kind of doing anything, but they do kind of play more in a pickup style game where they're just going out and playing the game how it's meant to be played and getting a lot of kills together and stuff like that in these games. And also, they don't really finish out games very quickly, right? It takes a while for some of these challenger teams. That's why you see HLE Challenger.c, because it's kind of the developmental team of HLE, which is one of the best teams in the world. They're not as good as finishing out games, right? So they'll kind of drag games on, get a lot of kills, and then eventually finish a game later in the day. So this is what I'm going for here for the play of the day. Again, if you guys want to get into my VIP, take correlated bets. Again, we're up more than 100 units so far in 2025. We went up 500 plus units in 2024. And again, obviously, like our best season is going to be something like football season when we have so much lines going out. But esports is kind of my bread and butter where I do a lot of entries as well. So you guys can text me the word Bovada right here to my number on the screen, and I'll get you guys into the VIP for 2 months free by signing up for Bovada and taking a bet on Bovada and sending me a screenshot of proof of doing that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video.